Today we're going to talk about what I've learned about growing tomatoes in the northern climates this last year. I've been on a journey learning how to grow tomatoes in our climate in North Idaho. Now, I'm a Southern California kid originally. Tomatoes were not a problem to grow. For us here, particularly in this location, in our little spot in this narrow river valley, growing tomatoes has been a real challenge. We often, in the summers, get mid 90 degree days and mid to low 40 degree nights. Tomatoes do not like that. It is a challenge. And it's worse even than some of our neighbors just 20 minutes away outside of this little valley. We just get extremes in the weather. And so it's been a real struggle to figure out how to grow tomatoes. And so I'm going to share some things with you today. Basically, what's been an experiment, because all the things that everybody says to do, we've done, and they haven't worked all that well. And I've got another video you can check out where we talked about some of the problems we were having. I got a lot of feedback from you guys. Well, a lot of it was really encouraging. A lot of it was stuff that we had known and tried. If you've been following along for a while, you know about these DIY kind of hoop houses we've made. And for the tomatoes, we've often had a hoop house plastic over it. And in order to kind of mitigate the temperatures, more to hold some heat in, right? And hopefully warm the soil up a little more and mitigate those nighttime temperatures. Try to get our tomatoes going, and they haven't done well. They've produced okay. They're never going to ripen real quickly here, but unlike what you see here, our tomato plants every year in that system were just droopy and unhappy and wilty. They look like they had a fungus, or they often had leaf curl. I worked through everything. Work through all the common solutions, particularly when it comes to the greenhouse, opening up the ends, lifting up the sides during the day, closing it at night, running fans in here, because tomatoes need air. They need air movement. You don't like it to get, too humid and too stale. They get fungal problems easily. None of that was working. We tried adjusting our water systems, because we were getting a lot of splitting, and that leaf curl can often have to do with lack of water. We've tried everything in different types of water systems and watering patterns. Nothing was working. We've tested our soil. My soil is good. We make all our compost here. We've tested the compost. We've tested the soil. It's balanced. I've done a few different organic fertilizers, and it just wasn't working real well, and I was about to give up, honestly. We were working hard at growing tomatoes, trellising them, pruning them for volume, and we just weren't getting much volume. The tomato plants were never very happy, and we'd get an okay yield. And no matter what, we're going to struggle with ripening here unless we're going to create a really, really good climate-controlled system. But we're trying to do this without that. We don't really want to invest in a really highly technical hoop house with all the controls, which would help a lot. I decided to just kind of let it go. Let's put in a bunch of different varieties. Let's take the temperature control off, get rid of the plastic, just let them be exposed to the environment. The weather is what it is. Let the tomatoes handle the watering system that we do for the rest of the garden, which is once a week. A deep watering once a week, and let's just see what happens, and we'll throw a bunch of varieties out here and check it out. So that's what we've done, and I am very, very pleasantly surprised. I don't think that we're going to get our tomatoes ripening early, but we're seeing some really, really good results, and so let's take a look at that. So I want to look at these tomatoes right here, and I don't talk varieties a whole lot, but we're gonna go ahead and explore a few of the varieties because we experimented with so many different things this year. That was part of the strategy, was like, let's just leave them alone and let's plant a bunch of different varieties and see what happens. This right here is called a Juliet. It's kind of a little pear tomato. We have not had tomato plants like this since we've been here. These are healthy, they're robust, they're indeterminate. And this is indicative in general of the whole tomato garden this year as far as plant growth and leaf health and just the overall health of the plant. We've not had this with tomatoes in these spaces. And yes, I do rotate my tomatoes as well. And these plants, we've just let them go. Like I said, left them to the watering program. And this is real indicative of the health of the tomato plants. There's no issues with them this year. There's no fungal issues. There's no leaf curl. I think that's pretty surprising because I'm actually really probably doing just about all the things wrong that people say you ought to do with tomatoes in this environment. And they're absolutely beautiful. Now, the other thing I like about these is they're prolific. I don't know if you can see, but these Juliets are just loaded. Now, they're not ripening real fast. We're just not gonna get them to ripen real fast. We'll probably have to either box ripen them or cut them before the first frost and ripen them on the vine. That's okay, but we're getting a few and they're wonderful. So this is what I'm looking for. This is what I love as a tomato. It's growing on its own. It's fit into my program. It looks prolific. And in this case, we are getting some of these ripening. So if we can get through for a few weeks, we may get a whole lot of vine ripened tomatoes. So I'm really happy with this experiment of just letting it go and leaving it be. We haven't pruned them. We haven't trained them. We've a little bit gotten them up on here, these indeterminates, because we have both indeterminates and determinates. For those of you that may not know, indeterminates, kind of keep growing all year and they produce, you can harvest and they keep producing. Determinates grow a little bit more like a bush, and you usually, this isn't perfect, but you usually get kind of a one flush of a crop, right? What I'm looking for now is, okay, what tomatoes will survive in my environment without a lot of care? And this Juliet, it's an open pollinated, so I can save seed. I'm very excited. I got this from Azure. Another thing on these Juliets is they are aroma style, even they're small, and that's really important to us. Carolyn really likes the aromas for preserving. If she's going to put a lot of work into preserving tomatoes, she likes the fleshiness, right? There's more flesh here, less water in these. And so while they're small, they're very solid flesh, and they're great tasting too. And that's not even completely ripe yet. Very good. After just saying I didn't have any leaf curl, I'm seeing, you know what, I do have a little. But look at this plant. This is a little determinate plant, and it is absolutely loaded with tomatoes. And they're ripening. We're going to get probably a good harvest on this after before the first frost. Now, the bummer is, this is called a bush early girl, so it is a hybrid tomato. We like to grow all open pollinated because we want to save seeds. We're not going to be able to do that, but really happy with this, medium-sized tomato. It's doing great. It's happy overall, and we're getting some tomatoes ripening. They're not splitting, so just more evidence of this experiment going really well. Unfortunately, this is one that we can't save, so hopefully we can find another tomato like this that's going to do well for us. One more example here of a tomato that's done really well, and I know this specimen doesn't look all that great. It's kind of laid out on the ground here all flat and doesn't look super excited, but just letting it go, letting it do its thing, you can see how many tomatoes are on this small plant, and we have already harvested at least this many tomatoes. And so this is a great indicator. Had we trellised this guy a little bit, it certainly, we wouldn't have so much fruit getting in contact with the soil, and it would do a little better. But as an experiment, this is a great looking variety. I'm really happy with this because it's produced well with no extra attention. So this is a winner. This is a seed saver right here. This is an early cherry that we got from Azure again, not a seed start here. It's organic and it's open pollinated. So I'm definitely gonna save seeds from this one and focus on a few of these varieties that are just doing really well with basically no attention, fitting into our general program. I think one of the top things I've learned this year is that experimentation and kind of going against the grain is sometimes a good idea. Sometimes this is how we learn and we figure out what works for us. You know, one of the reasons, like, I don't usually talk about specific tomato varieties because what's going to work well for me isn't necessarily going to work well for you. And what I've found out is the things that I thought would work well for me and us here in our location haven't been working well. And by just turning it loose and letting it be, planting a whole bunch of different varieties and just letting them do whatever they do with almost no input, making them fit into the garden, has really shined. One, it's gotten rid of the leaf curl and the wilt and the fungal issues. There's very little here. You saw a little bit on that one plant. That's literally walking through the 65 feet of 2 rows, the only I see. So it's very interesting to me that even though I've not trained these tomatoes up, we've done minimal trellising for the indeterminates here so that we can walk and they do get up, but they're all over the ground. There's no fungal issues from them. They've just done great, and we're getting a chance to see, one, what happens when we just let it go, and two, by planting all these varieties, we're finding several varieties that really shine for us. I'm very excited about how this is working. It doesn't mean that we won't come back around and trellis them and manage them a little bit more, but this experimentation has been very, very successful. I am convinced that the plastic over this small hoop house was the main issue, that it was actually causing a greater extreme of temperature change, and that even though we were lifting the sides up a little bit, it wasn't enough airflow, and so these plants were overheating during the day. They were getting more heat and then still dramatically cooling off on the night. Tomatoes just don't like that. So I think that's been the chief issue, and a lesson learned for me, that I think if we do ever go to a hoop house, it needs to have more volume to it, more height to it. We need to be able to control the airflow a little bit to moderate, so these tomatoes just aren't getting the extremes in temperature. That's what I've learned this year. We're gonna get a pretty good harvest, but more importantly, through this experimentation, we've learned what works on our land. We've discovered some new varieties that work without a lot of attention that we can start to save seed for. Maybe eventually get to where we can have the type of tomato harvest that we would like without too much effort and exertion. So hope this has been helpful to you. It's been a great journey for me this year in the tomato portion of the garden, and it'll be fun to see what seeds we save and what we do next year. For more videos on gardening and what we do here in North Idaho, check this out.